Right here we should have. We're live.
Hello, welcome back to Legendary Realms. I'm Morgan West.
And I am Rich Parla. I thought you were going to read it.
We are here for the second episode of the Weekly Word. Tonight is Thursday, February 2nd. And we'd like to start off giving out a quick thank you to the Head Thing, who commented last week on the Weekly Word, and with some really great suggestions, which I do want to mention. So we will actually be featuring Fantasy Flight games in some extent in the near future, whether that be how to play or live play. We're not quite sure yet, but that is coming, so keep your eyes open for that. We will also be featuring new board games through a program we're going to be releasing called Kids Gaming with Bex, and another program that I'm going to be hosting called Pre-Gaming with Morgan, and various actual plays also, so that you can get a feel for a board game before you decide whether or not you want to buy it yourself.
Right, and we'll be doing both pre-recorded gameplay and live event gameplays for longer event games.
Right.
So that way you can see and sit through the torture of a long game. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a really great suggestion to feature our terrain. That's definitely something we're going to start thinking about doing for the Weekly Word, perhaps.
Yeah, for the Weekly Word, and we'll also have building our terrain, creating our terrain, casting and painting our terrain, how we, going through the whole process to the amount that we're willing to show the public, but we'll definitely be featuring pieces of the terrain. Who knows? We may do live deals. So keep watching.
I think that's a great idea. And lastly, you mentioned painting miniatures, which brings us to our first point for tonight's episode, which is the announcement that we will be featuring a new series starting on March 10th. We will be doing a tabletop painting series called Mini Painting 101. It's going to be hosted by David Pomeranz. He is a self-taught miniatures painter with over 10 years of experience painting minis. So that's something to keep your eye on. Those are going to be pre-recorded videos, which we'll be posting on YouTube starting on March 10th.
We're looking to post the first video on March 10th.
Right.
So stay tuned for that. We'll go through a series. It'll be beginners at the 101, like you said, for now.
That's what I'm going to have to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
But David said that he'd be more than happy to continue with...
One challenge, which we mentioned last week, that is on YouTube now. And you can take a watch at that on our YouTube channel. We tried to build Sven, the human rogue. So that went swimmingly.
Are we even streaming?
Yeah, there's another. I'm sure those definitions are in there somewhere. Whether rolling dice is modified. Alright, so next is going to be a
Scroll down.
Oh, did you see the dial on the modified? It is like
Keep going, this is the preview. Public view, why isn't it live?
Is it this?
a lot of bags, and it's two bags. It's up to the door. It's probably the higher level. No one. Okay. No one turn.
This is it, right?
So it only has two sharp turns.
Stand by if you are with us for some technical struggles.
We'll do it right here.
That interceptor, I took the dice.
Properties. It said that it wasn't. What did it say it was? Yeah, this is correct. Resolution.
Oh, there are 4 people waiting to watch.
I don't understand. I really don't understand.
I'm gonna have to write to Fantasy Flight and say, what the?
I'm probably, I got the article all by myself.
Although they did put the bar.
That's why I don't like we can cross that one out. I gave you that one.
That's not magnetic, you just broke it.
Other doors.
After this, we're gonna get it. That was very
I know, I was thinking the same thing you were.
What the hell are you doing?
And we're live.
Listen, I just wanna let you know, I wrote the Fantasy Flight.
Hello, and welcome to Legendary Realms
Take two.
YouTube channel. We just experienced a little bit of technical difficulties, but we've got it all squared away now. I'm Morgan West. This is Rich Parla. We're here at Legendary Realms in Lindenhurst, New York. Tonight is Thursday, February 7th, and we're here bringing you the second episode of the Weekly Word. Firstly, I would like to start off with thank you to the Head Thing who commented on last week's video. Thank you for your suggestions. We do plan to feature some Fantasy Flight games. Whether or not that will be live play or how to play, we're not quite sure yet. But that is something that we are looking to post for you in the future. So we'll have more for you maybe next week or the week to come. So keep your eye out for that. Additionally, we will be introducing new board games through two programs right now that we have slated to launch, which are Kids Gaming with Bex and Pre-Gaming with Morgan. I'm going to be hosting that for you, where I set up board games and then potentially have an offshoot of that where Rich and myself and a few friends sit down and actually play those games. So,
And then we'll put them up as separate videos so you see how to set up the game. Sometimes you just want to know that. Sometimes you want to watch the gameplay. We'll also be running live events of longer play games so you can see them in action.
absolutely.
You know, a multi-camera shot of diplomacy would be very interesting. It'd be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And great suggestion on featuring the terrain that we make here in store. So thank you for that. And lastly, you did mention how it would be great to have a how to paint minis tutorial, which is funny that you mentioned that because we actually do. And that leads me into the first segment that we'd like to talk about tonight, which is a series that we'll be launching on March 10th called Tabletop Painting, Mini Painting 101. That's going to be hosted by David Pomeranz. He has been painting his own minis for over 10 years. He was self-taught, so he's going to be joining us. So keep your eye out for that. We're going to be launching the first video, potentially multiples, we're not quite sure yet, on March 10th.
And then David said that he would...
Okay, maybe it'll freeze up, but cycle back. I don't know what's going on. Do we have too many people on the...
What we
Wi-Fi?
should have done is we should have rebooted. We should need to remember to reboot every single time.
Cycle back.
That's what we should do.
Well, what's going on? We live and we learn.
We're back.
And we're back. So,
What we should have done.
once this video finishes, you can pop back over to our YouTube channel and take a look at the 541 challenge, which is posted as of today. And you can watch us try and build Sven, a human rogue. That's the first of a 4-part series of the 541 challenge, in which
Are you muted?
watch us try and build Sven. Yes.
Okay.
In which 4 of us sit down for 5 minutes and try and create one fully fledged character. And let me tell you, It was a struggle, but we did it. In which kind of 4 of us.
Yeah, well, we actually didn't do it. Don't let her fool you. We failed. The first one we failed miserably. Maybe. You'll have to find out.
Did it. So yeah, check that out back on our YouTube channel. Which this video
So Courtney mentioned that she's hearing double when we failed miserably. I'm hoping that was fixed. We're having a bitrate problem with throughput, so
check that out.
we think we've adjusted the settings correctly, but if that still continues to be a problem, please let us know. We could always turn down the mic and see what happens from there. We're having a bitrate problem with throughput, so let us know if this works. We've adjusted the settings correctly, but if that still continues to be a problem, please let us know.
Next up
We could
is
always turn down the mic and see what
our
happens.
Monday night stream. We're going to be
Let us know if
leaving
this
that
works.
off on March 4th with a character introduction part 1. It's going to be a pre-recorded video, and we'll feature 2 of them, possibly a third, March 4th with a character introduction part 1. It's going to be a pre-recorded video where we begin our characters start off on the wagon on our way to our first adventure.
So I just want to point out that
It's going to be a pre-recorded video.
I didn't agree to those dates. I was told those dates, and I was told to be ready with an adventure. So I don't really have a choice. I'll be ready. So luckily they're letting me do the character introduction part 1 and the character introduction part 2, and then session 1 is on the 18th. I was told. Good thing I already have the adventure ready with an adventure.
That is good.
I can't tell them about it though. I don't really have a choice. I'll be ready. So how is the? They're letting me do the. I hear introduction part 1, and I hear it again in the background. Okay, what about now? We clicked. Good thing I already have the adventure ready. We made another adjustment. You gotta be kidding. I can't tell them about it though. I don't really have a choice. I'll be ready. How is the? They're letting me do the. I hear introduction part 1, and I hear it again in the background. Okay, what about now? We clicked. Good thing I already have. It's back on. Ready.
Okay.
We made another adjustment.
We're sorry about the challenges we've been facing with the connection here. Thank you for bearing with us. Last few things we wanted to cover tonight. Okay.
We made another adjustment.
We're sorry about the
Keep talking.
we wanted to talk a little bit about Magic the Gathering. There is Friday Night Magic every week starting at 8 o'clock. It's $15 to play, and for each round 1 you get a pack. Additionally, the store is going to be kicking off their league tomorrow with Ravnica Allegiance. That is going to run for 4 weeks. First place prize is a box of Ravnica Allegiance, so that's pretty exciting. If you want more information about Magic the Gathering, you can check out our Facebook group. It's Magic the Gathering at Legendary Realms. Once again, that is also $15. It gets you 3 packs.
Okay, thank you for helping us out with the sound. There were actually 3 mics on, none of which should have been on, and the original settings were not were them off, but they apparently were turned back on. So I've muted all of them except for our main mic here, and we should be okay. Ravnica is not live. I will respond to that in the middle of whatever I'm doing. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Let's move on.
All right. Last thing we want to cover, or at least last thing that I have that I want to cover, is to comment on our Patreon. We do have a Patreon account, and we are looking for patrons. There are 7 different levels that you can contribute at. We have our helping out level, which is $5 a month. It gets you 10% off all of the items in store. And then we have a few specialty tiers. We have the Magic the Gathering tier, the D&D tier, and the Terrain tier, which are more geared towards your particular interests. All of those tiers are $25 a month. And then we have some premium tiers, which get you bundle packages, if you will.
So I'd like to add to that is that a lot of what we set up on Patreon is very, very store centric, and that's very, very important for our community and our local group. But to be honest, we're trying to grow a community beyond the walls of our store, and so we are going to put something together, packages together for those people too. We want you to share this. We want you to subscribe if you're watching and not subscribe. We want you to leave comments. We want you to grow our community beyond the store. We've done so many things with people that don't actually come into the store, but they support us in so many other ways. The terrain goes worldwide. There's no reason why we shouldn't have something that does the same.
Well,
any
it is,
help,
yep.
any support they give us, will help us build the terrain and
Sure.
keep going with it.
Well, for example, the terrain tier gives the patrons 25% off the terrain. So if that's shipped worldwide, there's no reason that you can't participate in our Patreon deals in that respect. So
Absolutely, but
Yeah.
we also have partners that we would love to do. Maybe we could do premium content for patrons and stuff like that. So we're gonna work on it. That's what we have now.
Yep.
You want to just give them the address?
yeah, it's patreon.com/LR Games. Pretty simple. And last thing I want to cover is our social media, where else they can find us.
It's down again.
Well, Kobold is Zen Man.
We're back on.
Okay.
All right. So
Is there anything you want to cover?
I'd appreciate the I do. There's something. I appreciate the comments. So let me check on something, and I will get right back to you. So excuse me really quick. Pat, would you paint terrain in your leather jacket? Yeah, would you do it? Okay. So to the comments to our viewers, the answer is yes. Pat would paint in his leather jacket if we wanted him to, but that's a little extra. Do we want to post the? Do we want to post,
Yeah, that's
post
the
the
last
social
thing
media
I
and
have
stuff?
to talk about. Yeah.
But like the links and stuff like
Sure.
that,
We
we'll
can
throw
put
them
it
in the comments.
the comments or in the description underneath the video. Absolutely. But just so that you
Oh, yeah,
know,
whichever
you can find us on Twitter at LR Terrain. You can find us on Instagram at Legendary Realms Games. And again, you can check out our Patreon at LR Games.
Excellent. So join us next week when we attempt to get better at this each time.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Take care.
To next week.
Till next week.